Welcome to the deep dive. You know, Today we're diving into something that's really changing things up, artificial intelligence, and how it's making waves in the world of petroleum engineering.
It really is fascinating, isn't it? And it's something that folks should probably get up to speed on pretty quickly, right? I mean, think about it.
Yeah, for sure. All those huge challenges the oil and gas industry faces, like how do you even find those resources? How do you drill without like breaking the bank or, causing problems? And then once you get it, how do you make the most of it?
Exactly. And AI, with its ability to crunch crazy amounts of data, solve super complex problems, and even make decisions based on what it learns, well, it's rapidly becoming the key to doing all that better.
Absolutely. And we've gone through like a ton of research on this, real in-depth stuff,
Oh yeah, we've got a whole stack of sources
a
here.
real mountain of information. And it's clear AI isn't just some far-off sci-fi thing anymore.
It's happening now.
It's already being used actively, I mean, to change how the whole petroleum industry works, from like the very first step of looking for oil and gas
Getting it out of the ground.
all the way to managing it afterwards efficiently and hopefully more sustainably too.
Right, and our goal today is to pull out the most important, most useful stuff from all of this.
The aha moments without, drowning everyone in technical jargon.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
And to get things rolling, let's talk about something pretty mind-blowing, generative AI. Now, this isn't just about analyzing old data. This is about AI actually creating stuff, new data, new designs, even whole new models based on what it knows.
It's incredible.
Like, imagine being able to simulate what it's like deep inside an oil reservoir, super high pressures, crazy temperatures, all without actually having to drill a well and stick sensors down there.
Which is really expensive and sometimes nearly impossible, right?
Yeah, generative AI can kind of give us that sneak peek.
It's pretty powerful stuff.
It really is. Okay, so let's start with the very beginning. How do we even find these underground resources in the first place? Where do we even start looking?
Yeah, well, AI has been totally shaking up the early stages of oil and gas exploration. Traditionally, figuring out what's beneath the surface that involved analyzing seismic data.
Those sound waves, they bounce off the rocks below, right?
Right, and it was incredibly tedious. Geologists would spend weeks, sometimes months, just poring over these readings.
I can imagine.
But now we've got AI algorithms that can process these massive data sets, lightning fast.
Yeah.
And not just fast, but with incredible accuracy, too.
So instead of weeks, it's
Hours.
that's a game changer.
Huge time savings. And that means we can identify potential drilling spots so much quicker, get a way better grasp on how much oil or gas might be down there. It's completely changed the game.
It's like giving those geologists a superpower,
That's a great way to put it.
a way to see through the earth.
Yeah. And the cool thing is, it's not just about those sound wave readings either. I mean, AI's real strength lies in its ability to combine all sorts of different information.
Or you'd be like,
Geological surveys, physical measurements from the Earth's surface, even records from past drilling attempts.
so it pulls all of that together. It creates a much more complete picture.
Exactly. Imagine going from a fuzzy, blurry snapshot to a high-definition 3D view of what's happening underground. It's pretty incredible.
So we're talking about a much clearer understanding of what's down there. Can you give us a real-world example of how this plays out?
Sure. Let's say we're looking at seismic data, right? AI might pinpoint a specific area and say, okay, based on these patterns, 92% chance this is sandstone. And sandstone, that's often a good sign.
For oil and gas, yeah.
Right. But then in another area, it might say, this looks like shale, and there's a much lower probability of hydrocarbons here. And the AI can do this for incredibly precise coordinates.
It's like having a treasure map, but one that tells you how likely you are to strike gold at each spot.
It really is.
That's amazing. And AI also helps figure out just how much treasure is actually down there, right? Like, how do we know how much oil or gas is trapped in a reservoir?
Yeah, that's where predictive models come in, and these often use machine learning. Basically, you're training AI on past examples to make predictions about the future.
So, like, learning from experience, but at super speed.
Exactly. And they can estimate key things about the reservoir porosity, which is how much space the rock has to hold fluids, permeability, which is how easily those fluids can flow, and water saturation. And by analyzing data from similar reservoirs, these models can give us surprisingly accurate estimates.
So we don't have to drill as many expensive wells just to figure out the basics.
Exactly. It saves a lot of time and money.
That's a huge step forward. Now, you mentioned generative AI before. How does that fit into this exploration stage?
Well, remember how I said the subsurface is full of uncertainties? We never have the complete picture. That's where generative AI can really shine. It can create multiple different but plausible versions of a reservoir model, each reflecting different possibilities, acknowledging those data gaps.
Kind of like a what-if machine.
Exactly. And this allows engineers to get a better grasp on the range of potential scenarios, plan their exploration and drilling strategies way more effectively.
Being prepared for whatever they might find down there.
Exactly.
Okay, so we found the oil. We have an idea of how much is there. Now we've got to actually get it out of the ground, right? Drilling. How is AI changing things in that critical phase?
No, it's fascinating. AI is being used to really fine-tune the whole drilling process. And I mean, there's a ton of factors involved, right? How much weight should you put on that drill bit?
How fast should it spin?
Exactly. And then there's the drilling mud, right?
Keeping things cool and lubricated.
Right. AI algorithms can analyze all sorts of data, past drilling data from similar areas, the current geological conditions, even real-time information coming from sensors on the equipment itself.
It's like AI is right there on the rig with them.
And all of this helps predict the ideal combination of those parameters, the sweet spot for drilling efficiently and avoiding problems.
So it's kind of like having a super smart advisor constantly crunching numbers and giving recommendations. But do we know, how much better this can actually make things?
Oh, we absolutely do. A lot of our sources point to AI-driven drilling optimizations leading to significant increases in drilling speed, like 25 to 30% faster per hour.
Wow, that's a massive improvement.
It is. And think about it. Faster drilling means lower costs. And ultimately, we get to those resources more quickly. It's a win-win.
Totally. But drilling equipment, it takes a real beating, right? Is AI helping keep things running smoothly, prevent those expensive breakdowns?
Absolutely. Predictive maintenance using AI is becoming crucial. By constantly monitoring the health of that equipment, using sensors to track things like vibrations, temperature fluctuations, pressure changes, AI can identify patterns that signal trouble brewing.
Kind of like a doctor for the equipment.
Exactly. It's like having a doctor constantly monitoring a patient's vital signs and being able to predict a potential health issue before it becomes critical. For example, an AI model might analyze data coming from a drilling site and say, hey, there's a high chance that pump over there is going to fail within the next 24 hours.
Giving them time to fix it before it causes a major shutdown.
Exactly. And that saves money, reduces risk, and keeps things running smoothly. It's about shifting from reactive repairs to proactive prevention.
This is a total shift in mindset. Okay, so AI is helping us find oil smarter, drill faster, and safer. Now, what happens when the well is actually drilled? We're ready to start producing, right?
Yeah.
How does AI help manage that whole process?
Well, this is where AI's role in production and, more broadly, reservoir management really comes into play. It's about making sure we're extracting those resources in the smartest way possible and managing that reservoir for the long haul, maximizing what we can get out of it.
So thinking about the big picture, not just the immediate output.
Right. AI can power incredibly detailed reservoir simulations, which can model the intricate dance of fluids moving through those rocks underground. It's pretty amazing, actually. These simulations allow engineers to virtually test out different production strategies before they actually implement them in the real world.
So they can see what works best without any real-world consequences.
Exactly. They can figure out how many wells to drill, where to place them, and how to manage those flow rates, all to squeeze the most out of that reservoir.
Optimizing the entire system.
And AI can also play a big role in designing what are called enhanced oil recovery techniques.
What are those?
Well, after that initial production phase, there's often a lot of oil left behind. Enhanced oil recovery techniques try to get more of that remaining oiled out.
I see.
And AI can help by predicting which method, things like injecting water or CO2, will be most effective for a specific reservoir.
So it's not just about getting the easy oil. It's about maximizing what we can recover from each reservoir.
Exactly. And to answer your earlier question about real-world examples, an AI model can take all sorts of data past production from a well, operating parameters like pressure and temperature, even the specific characteristics of that oil or gas, and use it to predict future production rates. That helps with planning, resource allocation, the whole 9 yards.
So, for instance,
An AI might say, hey, if you adjust the pressure in this well by, say, 10%, you'll likely see a big jump in production next month.
giving those engineers actionable insights.
Exactly. And it's not just about the underground stuff either. Refineries, they're incredibly complex too.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
And predictive maintenance plays a big role there as well. AI can monitor all those critical pieces of equipment, pumps, compressors, you name it, looking for tiny anomalies that might indicate a problem down the road.
Like a little hiccup in the data that humans might miss.
Exactly. They can track vibrations, temperature changes, pressure fluctuations, even the electrical current those machines are using. And by spotting those subtle signs early on, they can prevent major failures.
Keeping those refineries humming along smoothly.
Exactly. It's about minimizing disruptions, ensuring safety, and making the entire refining process much more efficient.
It's amazing how AI is being applied across the entire process, from finding the resource to processing it. And speaking of efficiency, let's talk about sustainability and environmental safety. Those are hot topics these days, right? How's AI contributing in those areas?
Well, one of the biggest things is AI's potential to really push sustainable practices within the oil and gas industry. By making everything more efficient, we're inherently using less energy, less water, and making more informed decisions that consider the environmental impact.
So like if you're drilling fewer wells, getting more out of each one, you're naturally reducing your footprint.
Exactly. But it goes way beyond that. AI is being used to design those energy-efficient processes, predict environmental impacts before they even occur, and really optimize the use of those precious resources, energy and water.
So it's not just about doing less harm, it's about actively trying to do better.
Exactly. And then you've got AI-powered sensors and monitoring systems, kind of like intelligent guardians for the environment.
What do you mean?
Well, they can detect harmful substances like pollutants and suggest specific actions to minimize pollution.
It's like having an early warning system for environmental hazards.
And on that note, AI's predictive power is also being used to forecast risks like oil spills.
That's crucial.
Models can analyze water quality, operational data, all sorts of factors, and predict conditions that might increase the risk of a spill, allowing companies to take preventive action.
That's incredibly valuable.
And similarly, AI is being used for leak detection in pipelines, using sensors and those smart algorithms to spot even small leaks quickly before they become major problems.
So really minimizing the potential for damage.
Exactly. And AI is even being used to assess the impact of those initial drilling operations. Models can analyze things like the depth of the well, the drilling fluids used, how close it is to sensitive ecosystems, and generate a sort of environmental impact score.
Giving companies a clear picture of the potential consequences.
And that allows them to make more informed decisions, choosing drilling methods and locations that minimize their environmental footprint.
It's like having a guide for more responsible drilling practices.
Precisely.
Okay, so we've talked about finding oil, extracting it, processing it, and doing it all in a more sustainable way. Now let's shift gears and talk about something that's often overlooked, the supply chain, all those behind-the-scenes operations. How's AI changing things there?
Oh, it's really interesting. AI is being used to optimize those incredibly complex supply chains in the oil and gas industry.
I mean, that's a huge undertaking, right? Moving all that oil and gas around the world.
It is. And AI can help with everything from accurately predicting demand for petroleum products to managing inventory levels to optimizing those crazy complicated shipping routes.
So it's like a master planner, figuring out how to get the right resources to the right places at the right time.
Exactly. Imagine AI predicting exactly how much crude oil needs to be shipped to a specific refinery, and then figuring out the most efficient, cost-effective route, taking into account things like weather and traffic.
That's mind-blowing. And what about blockchain? I've heard a lot about that lately. How does it fit into this picture?
Blockchain is a big deal here. It basically provides a really secure, transparent way to track data across that entire supply chain. And when you combine that with AI's analytical power, you get incredible gains in efficiency and reliability.
So the data is secure on the blockchain, and AI makes sense of it all.
Exactly. AI can use that real-time, auditable data to make even better predictions and automate all sorts of tasks, making that supply chain smoother, more resilient, and much more trustworthy.
It's a powerful combination.
Oh.
Okay, so looking ahead, what are some of the exciting future trends, the emerging AI technologies that we can expect to see shaping petroleum engineering in the years to come?
Oh, there's so much happening. One really promising area is generative design. This is being used to optimize the actual equipment used in the oil and gas industry, things like pumps, compressors, those big turbines.
So not just making processes better, but actually designing better tools.
Exactly. AI algorithms can explore a vast number of possible designs, considering performance requirements, material constraints, all sorts of factors, to come up with more efficient, more durable, and potentially even safer equipment.
That's incredible. It's like AI is becoming an inventor.
It really is. And as the world shifts towards cleaner energy, we're seeing AI play a bigger role in that transition too. It can help smooth out the integration of renewable energy sources like solar and wind power into the existing grid.
Making that whole process more efficient and reliable.
Exactly. AI can predict fluctuations in energy demand and optimize the performance of those renewable energy systems so we can rely on them more.
That's a big deal as we move towards a more sustainable energy future.
Absolutely. And back to the core of the petroleum industry, managing those underground reservoirs and maximizing production over the long term, AI's role there is only going to grow.
So even as we explore alternative energy sources, we're still getting smarter about how we manage the existing ones.
Exactly. AI-driven models are getting better and better at predicting oil and gas production over long periods. They help engineers make those really important decisions about how to develop a reservoir, when to drill new wells, how to manage the pressure, all to get the most out of those resources.
So it's about long-term planning, not just short-term gains.
Right. And they're comparing those predictions to the actual production numbers, and the accuracy is constantly improving. It's pretty remarkable.
It sounds like AI is rapidly becoming an indispensable tool for the entire industry. And I'm curious, for our listeners who might not be programmers or mathematicians, are there any user-friendly ways for them to tap into AI's potential?
Absolutely. The rise of no-code AI tools is a game changer. These platforms, like JASP, for example, have really intuitive interfaces, no coding required.
So anyone can use them.
Pretty much. They allow people to do sophisticated analysis, things like predicting which zones in a well are most likely to produce, or identifying the key factors influencing a well's performance.
All without having to write a single line of code.
Exactly. It's about making those powerful AI techniques accessible to everyone.
That's fantastic. Well, we've covered an incredible amount of ground in this deep dive. Let's just take a moment to recap the key takeaways.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey. So we've seen how AI is revolutionizing petroleum engineering, right? From making exploration more efficient and targeted to optimizing drilling and ensuring safety.
To better managing production and reservoir health.
And don't forget the sustainability aspect, driving more responsible practices and improving environmental safety, and even streamlining that incredibly complex global supply chain.
So for our listeners, we hope you've gained a deeper understanding of how transformative AI is in this industry. We've uncovered some really surprising applications and delved into those key insights without, hopefully, overwhelming anyone with too much technical detail.
And that brings us to a final thought for you to consider. With all of these incredible capabilities, what's next? What future innovations or regulations might be needed to ensure that AI is implemented responsibly and ethically within the petroleum industry?
So we can truly unlock its full potential for efficiency, safety, and sustainability.
Exactly. It's a question that's going to shape the future of the field, and it's something we all need to be thinking about.
It's a conversation that's just beginning. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time.
See you then.
For more videos, don't forget to subscribe and like the videos.